Hello everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. And today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter. So yesterday it was Harry's birthday, which is why I'm wearing my Hufflepuff scarf. Huffle Pride forever. And so today I thought I would sort the Sound of Music characters into Hogwarts houses. Because, you know, I have nothing else better to do. So I have 15 characters I'm going to be sorting today. Maria, Georg, Elsa, Max, all 7 of the children, Rolf, Sister Margareta, Sister Bertha, and the Reverend Mother. So before we begin, I'm just going to put a little bit of a disclaimer here. In case you haven't watched any of my other videos, I am fanfiction crazy. So a lot of the fanfiction I've read will probably impact my decision just as much as the film itself. So one final thing before we start, here are the values and traits that each house values according to Pottermore. Gryffindor values courage, determination and bravery. Hufflepuff values patience, loyalty, fair play and hard work. Ravenclaw values wit, learning and wisdom. And Slytherin values pride, ambition and cunning. So with all that said, the sorting ceremony will now commence. So up first is Maria Rayner, and the hat says Hufflepuff. Okay, so there is no way Maria is patient at all, but I think we can all agree she is selfless, hardworking and loyal, which are all very Hufflepuff traits. And I think said traits would leave her in Hufflepuff even if she doesn't have the patience. Next up we have Georg, and the hat says Gryffindor. I think the fact that he served in World War I and was decorated for bravery says it all. I do think he has some Ravenclaw traits, but Gryffindor wins out. As I said, he served in the war. Now we have Elsa, and the hat says Slytherin. Elsa's very proud and very self-serving. In the musical she even says, I don't like to win without a fight. And indeed she doesn't. She's the reason Maria runs off. So she's willing to fight. I still love her anyway. Moving on to Max, the house also says Slytherin, and for much the same reasons. Max is a giant mooch. He's very self-centered and very ambitious, and while he can be very loyal when he has to, say, help his friends get out of the country undetected, he's very much more Slytherin than he is Hufflepuff or any other house, I think, for that matter. So now we're going to move on to the children. This is a little harder in a lot of ways. The children don't have a lot to work with. They're certainly not cardboard cutouts, but I almost feel like they're one 7-part character rather than 7 individual characters. As cruel as that is. Yes, even Liesel. But on the note of Liesel, the hat says she's a Hufflepuff. Being the oldest sibling, she very much leads and looks after the other children, so I think loyalty and hard work are down pat. And as for the romance with Rolf, well, she's a teenager, it wouldn't matter what house you're in. So next, of course, we have Friedrich, my favourite Von Trapp child. So the hat says Gryffindor. We know he wants to be like his father, which means he wants to be brave. Because as we've established, Georg served in World War I, and he's a Gryffindor. So, Louisa, according to the hat, and by the hat I mean me, Louisa is a Slytherin. We know Louisa's very much the troublemaker, she's the one playing all the tricks, or at least plotting them. It also says on the Harry Potter wiki that Slytherin values resourcefulness, and I think that definitely fits Louisa. So with the first 3 done, now it's time for, what's his name? Oh, Kurt. And the hat says Kurt's in Gryffindor. I think Kurt would be a Gryffindor for much the same reasons as Ron was a Gryffindor. He'd want to be brave, like his father, and he would be able to do that, but that's very deep down and not immediately obvious. Next up is Perdita. And I think we can all agree with the hat and say Perdita is a Ravenclaw. When we first meet her, she's holding a book. And we know that she notices things and she always tells the truth. So she knows what's going on. In the musical, she's actually the one that notices and subsequently tells Maria that she and the captain are in love. And considering the fact that she's 9, or 10 in the movie, she's got to be pretty wise to pick up on that. So as far as the children go, we've only got the little ones left. And according to the hat, Marta's in Hufflepuff. This is actually probably the hardest one. I've said before that the children really don't have a lot to work with, all things considered, but Marta probably has the least to work with. She's not the youngest, because that's Gretel, but she's not really old enough to be anything else. If you watch the scene in the film where Max is reading their names off the program and he says Gretel's the most important, Marta looks pretty pissed. She's young enough to want to be the most important, but she's not able to be the most important. So given that she's sweet and shy and mild-mannered, I think Hufflepuff is much more likely for her than any of the other three houses. And so, lucky last for the children, the most important one, I think Gretel is a Slytherin. I really don't know why I think that, but I could see Gretel as a Slytherin. She's very stubborn and she's very fierce for being a 5-year-old, but I see that in much more a Slytherin way than I do a Gryffindor one. Like Marta, I think it's hard to say why I put her in Slytherin, because the little ones are so young that really the differences in their personalities come down to the individual actors. They are the little ones, and that's really all there is to them character-wise. But nevertheless, I always had a vibe that Gretel would be in Slytherin. Moving on to the movie's biggest jerk, the hat says Rolf is definitely in Slytherin. He's not brave, he's not smart, and he's only loyal to the Nazis, and only because of ambition. He thinks he can get somewhere and be somebody if he works with the Nazis. So considering I think we can all agree Rolf's a bit of a jerk, let's move on. So the only ones we have left are the Nuns, and I'd say it's pretty clear which houses these three fit into. The Reverend Mother's a Ravenclaw, Sister Margareta is a Hufflepuff, and Sister Bertha is a Slytherin. While I think being a nun would automatically mean you have a lot of Hufflepuff traits, the Reverend Mother is your classic wise figure that every hero's journey has. Sister Margareta's the kind one that sees good in everybody, not unlike Helga Hufflepuff from what I've heard. And Sister Bertha is just so badass. I mean, seriously. So that ends the Sound of Music Hogwarts sorting ceremony. They're all the characters I'm going to do, and I think that's probably most of the characters. There's a few extra nuns and Zella. He's totally a Slytherin. But that's about it for the cast. And just one final apology to the Ravenclaws out there. I'm sorry there were so few Ravenclaws in this video. I know you guys have taken a bit of a backseat to us Hufflepuffs since Fantastic Beasts came out. And while I have completely embraced the fact that I'm a Hufflepuff, I originally wanted to be a Ravenclaw. I wanted to be a Ravenclaw for a very, very long time. So if that's any consolation to you Ravenclaws out there, I hope you all enjoyed. I know this was a little bit different, but I love Harry Potter and the occasion seemed right. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my sorting, if you disagree, and what houses would you put them in if that's the case, as well as what's your house? Obviously, I'm a Hufflepuff. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!